Rev up your engines!
Yeah, I'm disappointed. It looked like there's not going to be a rematch between the Tesla Cybertruck and the Ford F-150. Senior Vice President of Ford tweeted that they wanted to have a rematch and have them pull against it, but Ford just put out a press release that says, well, that was tongue-in-cheek. They're not actually going to do it. If you remember that tug-of-war that they showed, the Tesla winning the tug-of-war and pulling the Ford, well, if you watched it, it was a joke because it wasn't even all-wheel drive like the Tesla truck was. You're not even comparing apples to apples. If they would have put in a big old F-150 with a V8 and all-wheel drive, I kind of doubt that the Tesla was going to be pulling that thing. Pranks that people put up, you know, you never have any idea what's actually going on in any of them. In the video world, I know a lot of videographers, they can make anything look like anything, even without actually doing it. I mean, you could leave one car in neutral, have it pull the other one, you could take your foot off the gas. There's all kinds of things that you could do. You know, the only test, I would like to see an actual test where there were guys that I knew, say, an asphalt track where they get good grip, and then just have them both pulling and seeing which. I wish someone would actually do this, you know. That I would find interesting. But, you know, all this tweeting back and forth, to me, tweeting is nonsense. I don't spend any of my time tweeting about anything. I'm here to help people out with real information, not to just make up stuff and tweet it to try to get something sensational out here that may not mean anything at all. You know, let's live in the real world. But in the real world, I do have to say, I would love to see a real test with a V8 four-wheel drive F-150 against the Cybertruck to see what would happen one way or another. Or any kind of test that we're usually done where they explain this has this has that, and then do it scientifically. Over the years, I've had so many non-scientific things tried to be sold to me. Like I say, oh, this magic thing makes me get better gas mileage. And I'll say, did you test it on a dyno, on a racetrack, with a car that didn't have it, than the same car that did have it, to see what the gas mileage, what the power was? You have to do things scientifically when you test them. That, oh, I used this and got better gas mileage. That doesn't mean anything. Psychologically, you could be driving slower because you want better gas mileage. I got customers driving Teslas. They can get 60-something miles a gallon, but they drive like total turtles going so slow. People want to run them over because they're going so slow. So that's not an accurate test. An accurate test is done at all speeds, all temperatures, over time. Then you know, yes, it works, or no, it doesn't. And my thing with these Teslas would be, what are they going to be like actually pulling stuff? Actually carrying a lot of weight? How long are those batteries going to last? Because from my experience with electric vehicles, they generally are fine when they're empty, but when you start loading them down and either going at high speeds or pulling heavy loads, they drain the batteries a lot faster. That's just how they are, just like a gasoline engine. If you're towing something, it gets horrendous gas mileage if you're towing heavy weights, where the diesel engines, they get much better gas mileage towing heavy weights because that's what they're designed for. So let's be scientific when you test things and not just have a tweet storm of nonsense flying back and forth. Jonathan says, hey Scotty, I'm about to change my engine oil and filter. Car is very high mileage. Should I use high mileage oil or should I leave what's in it? My theory with engine oil is, if you're using a quality engine oil, like personally I use Castrol, and you have no problems, just continue to use it. The high mileage oil theoretically is for engines that are worn. It's best to stick to whatever you've used, and definitely don't go from synthetic to non-synthetic or from non-synthetic to synthetic on a high engine. They're used to one oil. If it works fine the way it is, stick with what you have. Don't change just for change's sake. And from my experience, all the oils that they sell, name brands, they're decent oils. They work perfectly fine, but they have slightly different additives. So if you find one works fine with one that you have, just stick to it. Don't go changing around just for change's sake or because one is 50 cents a quart cheaper or something like that. Engines cost so many thousands of dollars. Don't think about that small change. Rich Reckon 445 says, I got an '06 Jeep Wrangler 4-liter. My OBD is incomplete. I can't get it inspected. When they plug in the scanner, it says mill not ready. What can I do? Oxygen sensors were the one that won't get ready. It says mill not ready. That generally means there's a problem either in the oxygen sensors, the wiring, or the catalytic converter. I fixed one of those 3 months ago, and even though it was a 2006, it has a recall for the oxygen sensor wiring. Once a recall exists, they have to fix the car forever. It does not matter that your Jeep is 14 years old now. It has a recall. The only thing they do at a dealer is they'll take your VIN number and they'll run it. And if it doesn't say that recall's been fixed, they'll fix it for free. So all you got to do is get your VIN number, the vehicle identification number. Call up the Jeep dealer and says, I know there's a recall for the oxygen sensor wiring. You fix them for free. Has this one ever been fixed, or you fix it for free? And they look it up and then they tell you. Now, if they say it's been fixed already, have a mechanic check out the wiring to see if it has been replaced, because sometimes they might lie to you. But generally, it's a recall, and I'm not going to lie too much about recalls. That's federal law, so if it hasn't been done, then they'll have to fix it for free. Anytime you got a question about a problem with your car, what you can do is you can just go to that government website. Just type in U.S. government recall website. Just Google that, and it'll come right up. Then you type your VIN number in, and it'll show you all the recalls. Anytime you got a problem with your car, heck, why not just do that? Because you might have a free fix. You never know, and it can never stop recalls. In the United States, recalls are forever. They don't have a limited warranty, 3 years, 50,000 miles. No, recalls go forever. So just do that. It's real easy to do. Aussie's not going 6 says, I got a 2004 Buick Regal. It cranks, it won't start, and the security light is coming on. Help! When the security light comes on and it cranks, but it won't start, that means your security system is keeping your car from being started. 2004, it's got the key, and the key has a little chip, and that has to match with signal that comes into the steering column that goes to the body control module. It's nothing you can really fix yourself, unless you're a mechanic. And if you're a mechanic, odds are you're not going to be asking me about it. Find either a locksmith or a mechanic who works on those systems. A lot of times locksmiths work on them a lot cheaper. Locksmiths made house calls, mechanics don't. You'll save yourself $100-something tow. But they're going to check, of course, before you even do that. Try another key. Maybe you got another key that works and that one's broken. But if another key doesn't work, it's either the unit that's inside the steering column that meshes with the key that gets the signal they often break, or I fixed one about a month ago and it was the body control module that sends the signal to the body control module, and if the body control module breaks, it won't send the signal back to the computer to let it start. You either need the part in your steering column fixed or a new body control module. But either way, if you can find a locksmith that does that work, start there, and they can come to you and do the work instead of you having to tow your car. Even if you guessed, you can't guess with a body control module, because if you put it in, the car won't start. It has to be reprogrammed. So they make it so you can't fix that stuff yourself. They're evil, but that's the way that it goes. If you got another key, try that. I've had customers do that. I've had them bring me bad keys. They'll say, your car won't start. Do you have any other keys? Yeah. They bring the other key, it starts right up. I said, well, your car's fixed now. Brick Wall Wit 71 says, I got a 2010 Ford Fusion V6. There's no heat from the heater. The blower motor won't blow anything. There's generally two things that go wrong. Either the blower motor's going bad, or the blower motor resistor is going bad that sends power. Now they've made them more complicated. And the simple blower motor resistor that used to cost like 15 bucks. And on those Fords, those are notorious for going bad. So under the dash, and you see, it used to be called the resistor. Like I said, now it's called the blower motor speed controller. Go to that, tap it with a hammer. If you tap it and it starts working, that's bad. That's how I test them, because it's often that stupid little module that goes bad. And if you tap it and it starts working, that's it. Now, if you tap it and it doesn't work, and then you go to the blower motor and you tap that and it works, that means you need a blower motor. Could be either, but I've seen those modules go bad all the time on the Fords. It's kind of a design flaw. Captain Cava says, Scotty, I want to buy a classic 70s American car, not sports car, from eBay for collection and also for rent. Hourly. Now, for your collection, buy whatever you want that you like. Personally, with those things, I'd say Fords are a lot easier to get parts for and to fix. And then you'd go GM after that if you're talking about classic 70s, because at least they were making better cars back then. I don't know about that. Because you get old cars and you rent them out to people. Hey, you got a baby in an old car and you rent them out to people, they're generally going to rag them. I know when my son got married, they rented a Mustang to zoom around in. They drove the heck out of that thing. I'm amazed it didn't fall apart when they were driving it. So maybe buying a classic 70s American car and then renting it out to people might not be such a smart idea. If you want to collect them and have them for your own toys, yeah, but renting them out to people, that might be a stretch. They're that old, stuff's going to break, and if you do put a lot of money into them, then you're putting out a lot of money, and you're not going to get that much renting them out, that they're probably going to do more damage to the car than you put into it. I kind of rethink that one if I were you. Cal Hold'em says, I got a 2016 Volkswagen Jetta. The driver's heated seat doesn't work, and it's cold here in Minnesota. Obviously, check the fuse, the relay, make sure that's working. But from my experience with those Volkswagens, they have crappy heating elements that short out. It's not that hard to test them. You can just unplug where the power goes in, have a guy check them with a meter, and if it shows open, that means that there's a short in the circuit because it's an open circuit now. The last time I fixed one of those, I had to replace the expensive heating element. Now, if it's that and you don't want to pay for it, hey, just use the heater. Maybe bring a blanket with you. Those things aren't cheap. Nothing's cheap in a Volkswagen other than the quality. But I do see those heating elements break all the time, which is funny because the other day I was in a 25-year-old Lexus and those heated seats were burning my butt. They were still working so hot, but you got a 3-year-old Volkswagen that's broken already. Listen to Scotty when he says don't buy VWs. Mike Mavet says, Scotty, I got a 4-wheel drive 1990 Bronco 2. It's lifted with 32-inch tires. I noticed the RPMs are about 4,065 miles an hour. I looked on the internet, but they said it should be around 2,000 depending on the gearing. First of all, realize it's lifted and it has bigger tires. You start messing with the tire size, that's based on the stock wheels, the way it was set up. The guy could have put on different gears in the transmission or a different rear end with a different gear ratio. Normally with those, I find they change the rear ends, and when they change the rear ends, then all bets are off. They change the rear ends so they have more acceleration taken off from zero, but then at higher speeds, the engine's going to spin higher. So the odds are they messed with the differential with the rear end, and that's the problem. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.